Good afternoon. Today's talk is childhood obesity. This talk is geared towards children and parents, but more importantly, the parents, as they're the ones who have the influence and are able to instill good habits in our children. How bad is childhood obesity? Well, according to the CDC, childhood obesity has more than doubled in children and quadrupled in adolescents in the past 30 years. So, how does the CDC measure childhood obesity? Well, they use BMI, which is body mass index, and they use the BMI for age and sex percentile for children and adolescents in ages 2 to 19 years old. An overweight child would be defined as a BMI at or above the 85th percentile and lower than 95th percentile for children in the same age and sex. And obesity is defined as BMI at BMI at or above the 95th percentile for children at the same age and sex. So, what are some other statistics that the CDC has provided for childhood obesity? Well, according to the CDC, they state that children aged 6 to 11 years old in the United States were obese, who were obese increased from 7% in 1980 to nearly 18% in 2012. And similarly, the percentage of adolescents aged 12 to 19 years old who were obese increased from 5% to nearly 21% over the same period. And also in 2012, more than one third of children and adolescents were overweight. So, what are some of the health effects connected with childhood obesity? Well, obese youth are more likely to have risk factors for cardiovascular disease, such as high cholesterol or high blood pressure in a population-based sample of 5 to 17 years old. 70% of obese children youth had at least one risk factor for cardiovascular disease. It's not uncommon to see children now with diabetes or certain heart risks. This was very uncommon 20, 30, 40 years ago, unheard of almost. And now we're seeing more children with childhood diabetes. And children and adolescents who are obese at greater risk are at greater risk for bone and joint problems. So as they get older, they'll feel the effects of their obesity. What are some of the long-term effects? Some of the long-term effects connected with childhood obesity are increased risk for cancer, including breast, colon, esophagus, kidney, all types of cancer. So these are just some of the facts of childhood obesity. What are some of the things that we can do to try to skew these facts a little bit? Well, one of the things as parents we can start to implement is cutting down on fructose or any type of sugar. These sugars do not process in the body well, and they cause some of these diseases. Some of the things that we can cut out are sodas, which are very high in fructose, breads, which contain a lot of fructose, all these candies and different types of sugars, cereals that are mostly made out of fructose. We have to start understanding labels and read labels and purchase items that are more organic or more natural. Another thing that we can do is change our lifestyle. Some of the children now have a very sedentary lifestyle, and all they do is eat, school, study, video games. So we need to try to instill some healthy lifestyle habits, which include healthy eating, but also physical activity. We can go with our children to the park, walk. All these things can definitely start to change some of these habits. Also, become an advocate for healthy foods, like Michelle Obama and the school lunch programs. Things like this we can do on a local level, and hopefully it'll get some momentum started, and we can instill these good habits and try to prevent some of these diseases that are affecting our children and that are slowly killing our children every day. Thank you.